Tonight, we close the books on week 9 in this huge best ball summer, which is no longer summer. We just finished spooky season. We're into November. Jets, Chargers. Week 9 got a little bit crazy. We're going to break it down, but let's do it a little different tonight. Since I'm alone, let's do a bit of a portfolio review. Let's do it.
Three, two, one, liftoff.
What's up, everybody? It's just me tonight. Obviously, Rob Coakley is your host. There is no Eric Beinfor. He is out gallivanting among the streets of St. Louis or somewhere in Missouri or Illinois. Nobody really knows. So you're stuck with just me. And I think the way to do it tonight, because we want to go over some of the things that happened yesterday, but we're a best ball show. So what's the best way for us to go over week 9 other than looking at some teams that I have that are live? We'll start over on Underdog. We'll make our way to DraftKings and potentially even Drafters. But I think that just showing some of the things that are going well, the different types of contests, some of the things that might be going bad is the way to look at this. I was going over some teams earlier today and was a little pleasantly surprised by some of the teams that I have advancing. And I noticed a little bit of a trend with some of them. And I didn't draft a lot of double elite QB teams, probably a little more than most, but still not a huge percentage of my portfolio. And a lot of them are currently advancing despite that CJ Stroud explosion game yesterday. And obviously, some CJ Stroud teams are advancing as well. All right. Well, why don't we get into it? Let's just dive right into some of these teams that we have over on Underdog. And let's see. All right. Let's start with the Eliminator, since that is down at the bottom. And the Eliminator is actually one of my favorite contests. Sorry, I'm just moving some stuff around my desktop here to make this a little bit more pleasant of a viewing experience. Let me know if everything is within reason of being able to see. So the Eliminator, if you weren't aware of the Eliminator, that'd be totally understandable. The Eliminator was only around for a few days over the summer. I actually had to draft my Eliminator teams while I was at Six Flags because I didn't think that I was going to be able to draft them anytime else. And it turned out to be true. So there was two different Eliminators. There was the Eliminator, there was the Little Eliminator. I was able to get 4 teams into the Eliminator, which was a $50 buy-in. And essentially what happens is every single week, you're in a new grouping and a certain number of people in that grouping advance. So a lot of the times it was bottom 2 get eliminated. What's going on, Olaf? And it starts to change. So this week, all that being said, I have one eliminator of the 3 left, and I lost my one little eliminator team. But we still have this one eliminator team that we are currently in second. That will change after tonight. And there are 10 people in this grouping, and the top 6 advance. And I went through and looked at a lot of the teams in this earlier today. And unless something catastrophic happens, we are going to be advancing. We're in second place right now with a 107.6. Should be plenty to advance out of this field. Let's go ahead and let's look at the team. So this team is Jalen Hurts, Derek Carr, Mixon, Kenneth Walker, Kamara, Devon Achane, CEH, Jerome Ford. So hit pretty well on running backs. At least have a nice different grouping for people to get in and out of the lineup. Achane obviously helped out tremendously during his little stretch. Allowed us to help get a team with Kamara through, who's been helping out quite a bit. Jerome Ford's been putting up points. As you can see, he gave us points this week. And Joe Mixon finally hit the lineup. This is also a 101 team. So we had Justin Jefferson, who has not been helping because he's been quite injured. But Chris Olave, Mike Evans, Rashad Bateman, MVS, Marvin Mims, Isaiah Hodgins. Tight ends are Dallas Goedert, who we lose for quite a few weeks right now. So that kind of sucks. Taysom Hill and Noah Fant. So losing Dallas Goedert is going to be bad for this team, obviously. But it looks like we'll be getting it through to week 10. Hopefully, we can just keep advancing it, get it through. We'll need the Saints to explode next week. And this has been my favorite tournament. This tournament, you can actually sweat in season, unlike a lot of the best ball tournaments until you get into later in the season, which I think you can start sweating some of those now as well. But being able to go in, for instance, seeing what I need on a Sunday night, seeing what I'm trying to fade on a Monday night has been enjoyable. I really like the Eliminator tournaments. I know a lot of people caught on to weekly winners. Totally get that as well. Weekly winners was not so much my thing this year, but I totally understand that. Just having these in-season tournaments to sweat is a lot of fun. So, as you can see, weekly winners, I've only won back $10 out of my 10 entries. So, not a great weekly winners. I feel really bad about the teams that I drafted in weekly winners. I will be going back reviewing those in the off season. I just think it was the worst I've drafted in any tournament ever. I don't think we want to really get into those currently. And let's get into the meat and potatoes of, I don't think I've ever said that phrase in my life. Get into the meat and potatoes. You guys talk about food too much in the Discord. It's rubbing off on me. Let's look at Best Ball Mania. I think Best Ball Mania is going to be real fun to look at. I have a lot of these teams labeled, so if there is a particular team you'd like to talk about, and I'll zoom in a bit just to make sure you can see the names. But we are advancing quite a few different teams. And one thing that I noticed when I was going through, and I named a lot of them this, is my double elite quarterback teams that are advancing. So I have a Mahomes Allen here. I don't know if we want to consider Fields one of the elite quarterbacks who's going in the 5th round, but I do have this Lamar Fields team. But if you look, we have Hurts Allen. We also have a Hurts Burrow. I have a Hurts Mahomes. I mean, Hurts is kind of the common denominator here, right? So you're seeing that we get some of these. Got to click load more for there to be more. And Cobra Kai is saying to show the one that I like the best. So I'll show you the one that caught my attention the most this morning. I don't know if I have a favorite, but when I was going through these teams, this Mahomes Allen team, I kind of found pretty interesting. That's not going to help because that just pops out a whole another thing. So let's pull up this Mahomes Allen team. So right now it has 1,141.78 points. It's in first place. We're up by 41 points or so. We only scored 99 this week so far. But if we look, our quarterbacks are obviously Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Let me see if I zoom out if we can get some more names on the screen here. And so we have Mahomes, Allen. Running backs, we're looking at Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, Brian Robinson, Raheem Mostert, Kyron Williams, and Keontae Ingram. So that is leading me to believe that maybe this team was drafted a little bit later. And then we go to wide receivers. We have Cooper Kupp, Gabe Davis, Cortland Sutton, Rashad Bateman, Rashee Rice, MVS, Isaiah Hodgins. And the tight ends are Dalton Kincaid, Irv Smith, and Taysom Hill. So Taysom Hill obviously has been giving us a ton of points this season. We have 74.96 from him. Dalton Kincaid's been coming on. And Irv Smith has found a way to not hit our lineups ever because he has been terrible, but still finally scored a touchdown last night. So what I like about this team being a Cooper Kupp team is our running backs on this team currently, as constructed, are quite nice. Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker's, say what you want about Zach Charbonnet. I still think Kenneth Walker is viable there. Brian Robinson has been getting, hit or miss games. Raheem Mostert has been lighting up the scoreboard. Of course, Kyron Williams crushed for us. Breece Hall still hasn't gone yet tonight, so that'll be nice. The Cooper Kupp thing is going to be nice for a low advanced Cooper Kupp. We're going to be having low advance rates on Cooper Kupp. And How many people do you think have a Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Cooper Kupp team? We get that through, and I feel really good about that. So I do like that for it being a double elite quarterback, doing it with Cooper Kupp. So I found that team a little bit interesting. We can go through a few more of these teams. If you guys see one, point one out. We'll do another double elite quarterback. Let's look at the Hurts Allen one. So this one has 1,079 points right now. It is up on third place currently by 37 points. So if we look at this, we have, the running backs might not be good on this one, as I see AJ Dillon, our first running back drafted. People want to see the fell asleep team. Well, we'll look at the fell asleep team. That team is still advancing right now. So Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen. Listen to these running backs. This was a fire at the wall running back room. AJ Dillon, Brian Robinson, Devon Achane, Jalen Warren, Kenneth Walker, Zamir White, Kareem Hunt. So we were just firing a 0 RB with double elite quarterback build. Wide receivers are Justin Jefferson, DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Rashee Rice, MVS, and Jalen Hyatt. Tight end, Dallas Goedert, Trey McBride. So as we can see, this also shows you why double elite QB takes away a spot. Because if we look at our running back, starting with AJ Dillon, right, you would think that your wide receivers are going to be just amazing. And the wide receivers, I think, are quite good. Obviously, Justin Jefferson, we lose him. And then it goes to DeAndre Hopkins. It feels like it's missing a wide receiver based on the running backs that we have. Grabbed Dallas Goedert a little bit early as well. So really took a hit in the wide receiver department versus what you think it would be. Still don't hate it. The problem is going to be this Dallas Goedert injury. Trying to get it through with Trey McBride. We'll see how that plays out. We see, I named a lot of my teams my stacks, right? So if we look at, as we go through, we see Eagles, Dolphins, Eagles, Rams, Eagles, 49ers. We do have a Hurts Burrow team that might be interested. Hurts Mahomes is another one. So this team's a little interesting. I was a coward when I drafted this Hurts Mahomes team, and I can show you what I'm talking about on it. Since we're just looking at these double elite quarterback teams, that makes sense. We're only up by 2 points with it right now. We're in second place. First place has 1,115. We're in second with 1042. So in order to advance from the one spot, we have quite some ground to make up. And the third place guy he's only behind by a little less than 2 points. So this could change tonight. But let's look at how I was a coward. Because I was a coward. Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts have the same bye week. So I drafted Sam Howell. Coward move. Just absolute coward of the most coward moves to ever be cowardly was me on this team. So now that we got that out of the way, we have Mahomes, Hurts, Sam Howell. Running backs are Dameon Pierce, who's hurt. And Dameon Pierce is a little alarming, isn't he? Where we see that he was drafted 5th, 6th round, wherever he was going. He's only contributed 22 points to this team. Not great. We have David Montgomery, who's coming back, which is nice. We got Alvin Kamara on this team, who's been doing quite well. AJ Dillon has been AJ Dillon. RIP to Damian Harris and Kenneth Gainwell. Wide receivers, AJ Brown, Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, Alan Lazard, MVS, Marvin Mims, Mecole Hardman, the unexpected double stack for Patrick Mahomes as we drafted Mecole Hardman. And tight ends are Chig and Luke Musgrave. So as we can see, the Eagles stack, the Kansas City stack, we do like quite a bit. That team is still going to be struggling to get through a little bit. All right, everyone wants to see Fell Asleep Like an Idiot. I was going to tweet this out tomorrow. This is the team. Address this at the top of the show. Eric is out about town. So we're reviewing the portfolio as we go through. And we can talk about some of the people that are helping and hurting is the plan for tonight while I'm by myself. Maybe, you know what we'll do? Since it is just me, since we're finally without Eric on a Monday Night Best Ball, we'll do what we usually do on a Sunday show, a Sunday solo show. We will go with the playlist, and we'll start playing some music as we go over these teams. That's what we'll do. All right. So, Fell Asleep Like an Idiot was the one we were going to go to, right? Let's go ahead and look at it. So, I don't know if anyone else remembers. I posted it a few times on Twitter. I posted it when it happened. I fell asleep during a Best Ball Mania draft and just jokingly titled it Fell Asleep Like an Idiot. Actually, not expecting much out of it, but it is currently advancing. So it's in second place in its grouping right now. First place has 1101. We are sitting at 1083, and third place is at 1050. So we have a 33-point lead right now. And this is sort of a double elite quarterback build. It is Josh Allen and Justin Fields, so it's whatever you depend on, wherever you decide. Justin Fields is on that, right? And it also has Jordan Love. Again, I fell asleep during drafting this team, so keep that in mind as we go over it. We have Nick Chubb, AJ Dillon, Elijah Mitchell, Kenneth Gainwell, and Gus Edwards, who has been. Can we talk about Gus Edwards just absolutely crushing these last 2 weeks? Just destroying everybody, helping to perch up this Nick Chubb injury that we got. Wide receivers, Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, Jordan Addison, who is not on enough of my teams. Jordan Addison was a blind spot for me, and I think my process was fine on this. We'll talk about it on another show someday. But Jordan Addison has been really coming on for this team. Zay Flowers, Darnell Mooney, MVS, Khalil Shakur, Cole Kmet, Hunter Henry on my tight ends. So Gus Edwards has been a force of nature the last 2 weeks. I mean, even longer, but the last 2 weeks specifically, he's been crushing. I don't know what's going to happen now that they've introduced this third back, Ingram, who looks really good. Every time he touches the ball, he looks shot out of a cannon. I don't think he's going to vulture Gus Edwards on the goal line or anything like that. I mean, I think Lamar is still the only guy we're worried about there. I like having Gus Edwards in the portfolio. I had him, I think, at a solid just 8%. I think I was starting to get overweight on Gus Edwards and made a conscious decision to dial that back a bit when I was drafting. So we are at the field with 8% on Gus Edwards. And yes, this was the other point I was going to bring up from Cobra Kai. Keaton Mitchell will just take Justice Hill snaps. I think he is going to be snagging some of those. I think he'll snag some. I think they're just going to make it a three-headed monster, but I think like those money touches are going to still go to Gus Edwards. I don't see why they wouldn't for the rest of the year. Let's just random fire on one of these teams. What looks fun? Eagles Dolphins sounds fun. So this Eagles Dolphins team has 1,103 points. It's in second place, although it has a 52-point edge over third. So you're going to see that in some of your groupings. You start going through and your teams, you might be like, oh, this team's in third. That's great. And then you go to it and you're down 75 points. It's still going to be a tough sledding to get it through. So another 3-quarterback team, this had to have been an auto draft. I can't imagine I would have drafted Jalen Hurts, Tua, and Sam Howell. Is not something I was typically doing with Jalen Hurts, unless I was just a coward again. Could be it. Sean is saying anything Texans looks good right now. We'll look at a Texans team and then we'll go through some other contests. We'll go to the Mastiff after this. We'll look at one or two of my Texans teams that are advancing. And then maybe before we get off Best Ball Mania, we'll try to find one of my lower scoring teams and just see how bad it is. So this one is a Jalen Hurts, Tua, Sam Howell team. Running backs, Cam Akers, no good, out for the year now. DeAndre Swift, Brian Robinson, Roshan Johnson, Chuba Hubbard. So, we're down to 4 running backs there. Wide receivers are Tyreek, Jerry Jeudy, DJ Moore, Romeo Dobbs, Rondale Moore, MVS, DJ Chark, and Quez Watkins, who is also on IR. Tight ends, Mark Andrews and Gerald Everett. Interesting Mark Andrews team where he's not stacked with Lamar on this particular one. And we do still have the elite QB. It was something I was trying to do with like Kelsey and Mark Andrews when I wasn't drafting them a ton. I still wanted to stack them with their quarterback occasionally, but I was trying to get some different combinations of Mark Andrews and Travis Kelsey when they were just so expensive, right? Figured trying to get them with a Jalen Hurts or stuff like it's a lot of draft capital to invest though in order to do that. All right, let's find a Texans team. So I do have the Chargers Texans team that is already advancing in first place, and the Chargers haven't even played tonight. Let's look at that. Let's see what's going on here. So it's in first place with 1,117 points. Second place has 1,113, and then we see third with 1,034. So we almost have 100-point lead on advancing. The chances are this team is getting through. Like a catastrophe has to happen in order for it to not. So we see that this team has Justin Herbert, CJ Stroud, and Desmond Ridder. 3-quarterback team. Desmond Ridder not playing currently. That could change back. Running backs. Wow, this is an interesting running back room. So it's Christian McCaffrey, Tony Pollard, Alvin Kamara, Kenneth Gainwell, Tajay Spears. Might be, I know Pollard's been an absolute dust ball, but to have McCaffrey, Kamara with Pollard, who could still elevate later in the season, I really like that. Wide receivers, so this is where we get into a little bit of a problem. We have Calvin Ridley as our number one. Then we went Mike Williams, who's out for the year, Gabe Davis, Cortland Sutton, Nico to go with CJ Stroud, Darnell Mooney, MVS. Tight ends, Kyle Pitts, Gerald Everett, and Trey McBride. So the Charger stack is just now Herbert to Gerald Everett, CJ Stroud to Nico, and then we have the Kyle Pitts stack. This is a pretty fun team for sure. I do like that one. Let's just see what other see if there's another Texans team in here. We have a Chiefs Texans team here that is in second place. So this grouping is a lot closer than a lot of the other ones. First place is with 1061. We're in second with 1050, and the third place is 1038, and they only have scored 75 points, which means that chances are they have people going tonight, I would assume. As I scroll, I don't see many though, so maybe they just had a really bad week. Let's take a look at this Kansas City Houston team. So Mahomes and Stroud, and let's talk about Kansas City for a minute. They're going on the bye, and we talked about this with the Bengals a couple weeks ago. I think if any team needs the bye now, it is the Kansas City Chiefs. They need to figure out some things offensively. I don't think they're going to be the Kansas City Chiefs that we think of back when it was Kelsey and Hill. I don't think they can get back to that this season by any means, but they need to figure some stuff out. I thought we were getting it on Sunday when we got that opening explosive drive for the Kansas City Chiefs against the Miami Dolphins. They came out. They looked like they were shot out of a cannon, absolutely crushed. And then they kind of just petered the rest of the game. Another phrase I've petered. Has anyone ever said of that before in their entire life? No. So I think the Kansas City Chiefs need to go on bye. They need to figure out who they want to play in this offense. I know it'll still be a rotation, but we got to settle some of this stuff. They need to get Rashee Rice on the field more. They need to keep MVS, Watson out on the outside. They have no other options there. Kelsey is Kelsey. But what are we doing with this rotation of Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, yada, 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 list goes on. That's what I think they need to figure out. So this team is Mahomes, CJ Stroud, running backs, Joe Mixon, Samaje Perine, Alvin Kamara, Jamal Williams, Devin Singletary, and Gus Edwards. So we see another Gus Edwards team that is getting through. And then you start looking at like the points provided by these players. Mixon's gotten us 86 on this team. Kamara, even with the 3-game suspension, has 103 for the team. And then Gus Edwards is really anchoring it from the back with Gus Edwards. Wide receivers. It's funny that like all these every team we're clicking on is a D-Hop team because I didn't draft a lot of DeAndre Hopkins. I have to be even with the field or below with him, but that's just kind of like the little outlier stuff you see occasionally. So we have D-Hop, Chris Godwin, Tyler Lockett, Gabe Davis, Quentin Johnson, Rashee Rice, MVS, John Mechie. So this is a Mechie team that I drafted, CJ Stroud. And then the tight ends are Kelsey and Jake Ferguson. So a pure Kansas City onslaught with Kelsey, Rashee Rice, MVS, and Mahomes. And the only CJ Stroud pairing is John Mechie that was brought up in chat. But Kelsey Ferguson feels like a good tight end combo. Do like that. All right. So we're going to go back to my drafts, and that just gives us a little bit of an overview. Oh, I said we were going to look at some of the bad teams. If we have time, we'll look at bad teams. Let's see what I want to go to. Let us find. Well, let's look at this $50 Greyhound team. So the Greyhound was a $50 buy-in, and right now our team is in third place. First place has 1,230. Second place is 1077. We're in third with 1074. Fourth is 1029. So we cannot catch first place. First place is absolutely crushing with 1,230 points. But 1074, we're going to be battling for the second place advanced spot. We're 3 points out right now. This is a Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love team with Ramondre, Alvin Kamara, Khalil Herbert, Tank Bigsby, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Wide receivers are A.J. Brown, so that Philly stack, DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, Rashad Bateman, MVS, has MVS been on every team that we've brought up? Devontae Parker, who's dead. There were signs of life from Hunter Renfrow. Quez Watkins is out. Tight ends are George Kittle, Sam Laporta, Luke Musgrave. So, could get through there. Do we want to look at this team that's crushing in first place from Mano Golf? So, they have Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott, and Kirk Cousins. So, they lose Kirk Cousins. They lost Deshaun Watson for a little bit. Their running backs are Pacheco, Mostert, Achane. So, they went with the double Miami, which is absolutely crushing. Ty Chandler, who has some signs of life with the Cam Akers news, and Kyron Williams. So just absolutely hit on this late. So we're going to see some wide receivers that are probably like just mind-blowing on this team. They're connecting with their quarterbacks, even though they lose Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins gave them a good push into week 9. They're crushing with Pacheco, Mostert, Achane, and Kyron Williams. Ty Chandler's done nothing for him. Wide receivers are CeeDee Lamb, Debo, Keenan Allen, Christian Kirk, Tyler Lockett, Rashee Rice, Rondale Moore, John Mechie, and then they had Travis Kelce and Chig as their tight ends. So, as we can see, does it feel like a 1,230 point team? It feels like a good team, but for 1,230, doesn't really feel like it, but this team is just absolutely crushing. It's hitting right the entire year. So congrats to them, because they've pretty much already locked up their advancing spot on this particular one. Having those rosters is quite nice. Let's find. There's the Mastiff. Sorry, guys, I can't stop coughing. So, for those of you unfamiliar with the Mastiff is a $1,000 buy-in on Underdog with a different format, where in this particular one, the top 6 teams are advancing out of round 1 out of the 12. So I thought drafting a little bit different on this was the way to do it. We are currently in 6th place on this one. So we are currently advancing. We're up 24 points over the person in 7th place at the moment. And I say at the moment because when we go through this team, you're going to see that we are actively going to be playing Breece Hall tonight. So this team, real quick, is Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. No other quarterback. I thought with 6 advancing, solo QB, if you had the elite, is the way to do it. I'm quite okay with the way I played it, and you'll see why. So the running backs are Pollard, who we need to just step up. Breece Hall, J.K. Dobbins, R.I.P., Roshan Johnson, Tyjae Spears, Kyron Williams. If I had drafted another quarterback, I don't think I get Kyron Williams on this team because of the way I drafted this team. I just don't think I go for a sixth running back, but I did, and drafting Kyron Williams has made a bigger difference having him than if I had Sam Howell or Brock Purdy, which are the two guys I would have been targeting for this team. So I think that was the proper play. We are going to take 0 at quarterback next week, but I'm okay with it because I understand the points that I got from Kyron Williams and can still get from Kyron Williams when he comes back. Right. Wide receivers, Deebo Samuel. That injury has not helped us by any means. Kind of anchored our wide receivers with Deebo. We went for a volume approach with the wide receiver position. Jahan Dotson finally came on, had a good game. Sky Moore, Tyler Boyd, Nico Collins, Rashee Rice, MVS, DPJ going to Detroit. We'll see what happens there. So what I've been lucky with on this, as you can see, we went for the Kansas City onslaught with Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, MVS. We just wanted to hit right on that, going with Patrick Mahomes. So the wide receivers are not sexy. What I can tell you is they've been ping-ponging enough. Whether it's Rashee Rice, Tyler Boyd's hit some games. Nico Collins has obviously come on and hit some games. Rashee Rice is getting us scores. They've been doing what I wanted them to do, where just different weeks, different wide receivers are hitting to help advance this team. Tight ends, George Kittle, Hunter Henry, Trey McBride. Feels like a major win. Hunter Henry early season really helped. George Kittle was quiet. George Kittle really picked it up the last few weeks when Deebo Samuel was out. And now that Zach Ertz is on IR, Trey McBride is there as well. So I still like this team. I still have a feeling that we're going to get it through. And I said as of now for our advance, because if you look at our running backs for this week, Kyron Williams, J.K. Dobbins are not going to contribute. Roshan Johnson only got 2 points. Tyjae Spears only got 4. Tony Pollard with 7. So Breece Hall is going to come in and get our RB 1 or 2 spot with Tony Pollard here this particular week. So we're going to most likely add points to this team tonight, give us a little bit wider of a gap. We could even catch up and get into 5th or 4th place this evening. I do like this Mastiff team. Again, 6 out of 12 are advancing. If you look down the leaderboard, the 10th through 12th place teams, the 11th and 12th place teams are pretty much out of this right now. Unfortunately for them, not to pick on them, but we're looking right now at 6 out of 10 that are advancing. And I think the 10th place team with 903 points, almost 100 points behind, is going to be a tough hill to get up. So potentially 6 out of 9 spots, right? And I like our chances. There is going to be a fight for these last few spots over these next coming weeks, but I feel good about our team. We just got to get through week 10 with no points at quarterback, but could be much worse. All right. Do you guys want to stay with a couple more underdog teams, or should we go over to DraftKings? Let's go look at some DraftKings teams. I have a fun high stakes one. Well, high stakes $100 entry that I really like on DK. I am just going to pull it up and we will look at it through there. Oh man, maybe not. It is so tough. I did not know that was going to be this hard to look at. We might have to look at this some other time. It's not quite as good as the app where they just go ahead and put your advancing teams up. I should have looked at this first. Could probably look at it on Spike Week at some point. But I think we'll go back to Underdog. Sorry guys, I should have had this planned out a little bit better. We'll go back to Underdog and we'll look at some bad teams and BBM. We'll look at like 2 bad BBM teams, then we'll let you guys go and get ready for Monday Night Football. So just let me get back to that. Are you guys noticing any names in your portfolio that you're like, oh wow, this guy is on every team? I'm starting to notice that about Alvin Kamara. A lot of my Kamara teams are advancing, which I do like. especially with him being out for the first 3 weeks. Maybe I somehow advanced the most Kamara teams. Probably not, but I think it's a potential to happen. All right. So I'm going to start. Let's look at some of our bad teams. Let's find some real bad teams that are in like 12th place. We don't want to just celebrate the good here. Let's look at the 12th place teams. 856 points for this team. Justin Herbert, Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder. Doesn't feel too bad yet. Ramondre, Joe Mixon, J.K. Dobbins, Brian Robinson, Zach Charbonnet. Not terrible. Feels like it should be decent enough, right? So we had Cooper Kupp on this team to go with Garrett Wilson. And then we got Brandon Cooks. When the hell did I draft Brandon Cooks? There's a guy that I just did not. There's a guy doing the John Gruden thing that I just did not draft. So we went Cooper Kupp, Garrett Wilson. Then we waited all the way to Brandon Cooks, Elijah Moore, Darnell Mooney, MVS, Calvin Austin. So this wide receiver room with Cooper Kupp missing those few weeks just absolutely dismantled this team. Tight ends, Gerald Everett, Taysom Hill, Michael Mayer. Woof. BKS is in 4th in BBM. We'll pull that up in a minute. Well, Cooper Kupp's been meh because he missed so much time. He's come back. He looked decent. But Stafford's out now, so that's a problem too. All right, let's find some more 12th place teams. Then we'll look up BKS's 4th place team in BBM. Here's another 12th place team. Oh my God, 797 points. We haven't even hit 800 points with this team. So this is a Burrow Stafford team. So Burrow started off real slow. Stafford, oh, this team is so dead. J.K. Dobbins, Cam Akers, A.J. Dillon, Khalil Herbert, Chuba Hubbard. This as stands with everything we know now. Obviously, Dobbins out, Akers out. Khalil Herbert's been out. Yeah, the running backs are garbage. Also a Cooper Kupp team. Devonta Smith, T. Higgins, Terry McLaurin, Rashad Bateman, MVS, Marvin Mims. Tight ends are Dalton Kincaid, Irv Smith, Trey McBride. Ooh, that is why this team has not scored 800 points. That is not good. Not a good team. But as we draft 150, we knew some of them were going to be bad. We were firing dead teams. All right, we'll look at one more 12th place team. Then we're going to look at that. We're going to look at that. Oh my God, it's even worse. 734 points. 734. We're only 350 points away from advancing this team. Holy shit. So this is a Justin Herbert, Jordan Love team. An Eckler, J.K. Dobbins, Samaje Perine, Donta Foreman, Chuba Hubbard, Chase Brown team. Wide receivers, Chris Olave, Debo, Christian Watson. Just all the guys that were like relatively huge misses. I mean, Olave wasn't a huge miss, but God, Debo, the injury, Christian Watson can't stay on the field. Quentin Johnson getting backup snaps to the water boy. Elijah Moore, Jameson Williams, MVS. Jesus Christ. Like, if you could go through and be like, who's the worst pick in this round? I would have had them at wide receiver on this team. Chig, Gerald Everett, Luke Musgrave. Jesus, what a bad team. All right, so I'm going to be honest. I don't know if I know how to look at the season-long leaderboard on the website. But look how easy it is. You just click regular season. View the leaderboard. So I got to remove this because it pops up a different one. How do I look and see this team? I mean, am I allowed to look at the 4th place team? Hold on. Stand by. Jesus. Not only does he have the 4th place team, I don't know how to show the actual team. There's no way for me to click on it. But what I will show you is not only does he have the 4th place team. Which one is this going to be? Is it this one? No. Is it this one? This one? It's this one. Not only does he have the 4th place team, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 teams in the top 10,000. That is crazy. Yeah, I can pull up the Spike Week leaderboard, I think. I'll try to do that. Give me 1 second. We'll try to pull that up. I don't know exactly where that is, to be honest, Hacker. I think I found it. Best ball leaderboard. The Sarndick. All right, I am on the leaderboard. Filter to see a specific username. You're killing me. I will know better next time. How about that? Yeah, I don't know. I know, Hacker. I know. I'm killing you. This is what happens when I work 100 hours a week. This is the side effects of what happens when I work 100 hours a week. I have it pulled up. I can't pull up the team. I apologize, but I thought it'd be fun to do a little bit of a portfolio review instead of doing our normal chat of just reviewing the week, which is better with 2 people. Anyways, I don't want to keep everybody here all night, so I'm going to let you guys get over to Monday Night Football, get ready to sweat that. I'm going to be sweating a ton of Breece Hall. Hopefully you guys are sweating whatever you need and hit, but we really want Breece Hall to. All right, I'm going to try to look this up one more time. Go to Premium Leaderboard. All right, I see it now. Premium Leaderboard. Oh my God, but now I have to log in because I haven't logged in a week. Hacker. Killing me. It's okay. We'll get it. We'll show it off. We'll show off the Premium Leaderboard. Now I have to go all the way back in, which is very easy to do. Okay, I have it. I have the team. Look at me go. Look at me go. All right. So the 4th place team, Jalen Hurts, CJ Stroud. That adds up. What's interesting is it looks like CJ Stroud hasn't contributed a lot of points until this week. Travis Etienne, who I think just was obviously a home run, right? Kenneth Walker, Kamara, Achane, Mostert, Ty Chandler. Well, Jesus Christ, did you hit on some running backs? Wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, who has not contributed since the injury. Devonta Smith, Michael Pittman, Mike Evans, Jameson Williams, Nico, Paris Campbell, Robert Woods. Tight ends are Dalton Schultz and Cole Kmet. It's funny because it doesn't feel like you hit hard on wide receivers, but the guys that you have are just contributing so consistently with Smith, Pittman, Evans, and Nico Collins to kind of lighten that load that Justin Jefferson left behind on his own. God, I wonder what this team you would be in first place if Justin Jefferson didn't get hurt. And it's probably not even close, would be my guess. 1339. Yeah, you'd be up there in first place for sure. Everyone else has Tyreek Hill. Well, the good news for you is Dobbs is there now. So Dobbs can at least get the ball to Justin Jefferson if he does come back. So let's hope so. But your running backs, God, that double Miami running back, my biggest miss of the offseason felt like not trying to do more of that. Loving the Miami running backs. Achane's one of my highest drafted players all around, but knowing that it was Waddle, Tyreek, and no one else other than the running backs, I feel like I should have had a couple Miami running backs on certain teams. So I think that is something that I would have been doing a little bit better. And Sean brings it up. Is Ty Chandler back from the dead now? Potentially. Might get some snaps. It could be massive. This team, I think you still have. Let's look at the rest of this leaderboard. Does everyone else have Stroud? Third place has Stroud. Second place has Jimmy Garoppolo. They do not. Sorry, D Trout. I don't know who you are. You don't get to win Best Ball Mania if you have Jimmy Garoppolo on your team. That is a rule that I have enacted here. So you do have some outlier players here. Stroud can still help you out, but obviously other people have them. But you have Hurts, right? I don't know. It's a pretty sick team overall. And it's a team that I think I could have drafted. I was drafting Mike Evans. My problem would have been getting to Michael Pittman. Just wasn't drafting enough Michael Pittman. And was the plan here? Were you going to try to go Anthony Richardson on this team? Just out of curiosity? Because if you were and he got sniped from you, that worked out quite well. I think. Oop. So I only use the best ball tools that Hacker creates, is what I will say. The Spike Week tools are the only tools that I have currently used. So that is a sick team. That is going to do it for us here tonight on Spike Week. Tomorrow night, we will be back. I know Eric will be back tomorrow night. Not sure if I will be here. But until then, we'll catch you next time. Peace. Woo! Those were some spicy takes. Want to stay up to date with all of the other spicy takes we're going to have over here at Spike Week? Why don't you press that subscribe button below? You turn notifications on. We draft a team. Boom, you know about it. We have another spicy take. Boom, you know about it. You can be there. You can draft with us. You want to stay up to date? That's how you do it. All right, we'll catch you later next time here at Spike Week.